Let me reveal to you the exact principle by which this operates in consciousness. What appears as delay, what feels like resistance, what seems like endless waiting, these are actually the final moments before manifestation. Just as the darkest hour comes before dawn, your greatest resistance precedes your greatest breakthrough. Here is the divine law. When manifestation seems furthest away, it is actually closest at hand. For in the realm of consciousness, every feeling of distance is actually a sign of imminent manifestation. Your breakthrough is not coming, it is already here in consciousness, pressing against the thin veil of appearance. Now let me share with you something profound that few will ever grasp. The very fact that you are receiving this message, that you are hearing these words, is absolute proof that your breakthrough is at hand. For in divine law, nothing comes to your attention unless it is already seeking expression in your world. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, my breakthrough is not coming, it is here now. For in the realm of consciousness, there is no waiting, no process, no delay. There is only the acceptance or rejection of what already is. Let me share with you now how this principle operates in specific areas of your life. For this law is absolute and applies to every sphere of manifestation. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that the very presence of desire is proof of its fulfillment. For in divine law, no desire can exist unless its fulfillment already exists in consciousness. The desire itself is the shadow cast by the manifestation that already is. Here is the exact law. The intensity of your desire is directly proportional to the immediacy of its manifestation. That burning sensation you feel, it is not longing, it is the pressure of manifestation pressing against the thin veil of appearance. That persistent vision, it is not fantasy, it is reality seeking expression. Now here is something profound about desire that most will never grasp. The universe will give you desires it cannot fulfill. Every desire you feel is actually the universe announcing what it is about to deliver. Your desires are not your tormentors, they are your prophets. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, my desires are not mere wishes, they are announcements of what must come. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as unfulfilled desire. There is only delayed recognition of what already is. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your apparent obstacles. Every barrier you face, every resistance you encounter, every setback that seems to delay you, all of these are actually signs of imminent breakthrough. When you grasp this principle, you will understand that time itself is nothing but a servant of consciousness. What appears as delay in the world of Caesar is actually perfect timing in the realm of divine law. For in consciousness there is no waiting, there is only the perfect unfoldment of what already is. Here is the exact law. The moment of greatest doubt is the moment of imminent manifestation. That feeling of how much longer is actually the birth pain of your manifestation. That sense of will it ever happen is the final resistance before breakthrough. Now here is something profound about divine timing that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't delay, it develops. What appears as waiting is actually the perfect preparation for manifestation. Your seeming delays are not denials. They are divine setups for perfect manifestation. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing. Every apparent delay is actually perfect timing. For in the realm of consciousness, there is no such thing as waiting. There is only the perfect unfoldment of divine order. Let me reveal to you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your current circumstances. Every condition that seems fixed, every situation that appears unchangeable, every reality that feels permanent, all of these are actually fluid and responsive to your consciousness. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that circumstances have no power to persist except through your consciousness of them. For in divine law, what appears as solid circumstance is actually as malleable as clay in the hands of your imagination. Here is the exact law. Your current circumstances, no matter how seemingly fixed, are actually in a constant state of flux, responding moment by moment to your consciousness. That unchanging situation, it is actually trembling on the verge of transformation, that fixed reality. It is actually fluid, waiting for your consciousness to reshape it. Now here's something profound about circumstances that most will never grasp. The universe doesn't see your current conditions. It sees only your consciousness of what could be. Your circumstances are not your prison, They are your canvas, waiting for the brush of your imagination. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, my circumstances are fluid and responsive to my consciousness. For in the realm of consciousness, there is no such thing as fixed reality. There is only the constantly shifting reflection of your assumptions. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your past experiences. Every failure you've endured, every setback you faced, every disappointment you've survived, all of these are actually building blocks for your imminent breakthrough. When you grasp this principle, you will understand that failure is impossible in the divine economy. For in consciousness, what appears as failure is actually success in rehearsal. Every seeming defeat is actually preparation for victory. Every apparent setback is advancement in disguise. Here is the exact law. The magnitude of your previous failures is directly proportional to the scale of your imminent success. Those bitter defeats, they were actually training grounds for triumph. Those painful setbacks, they were actually positioning you for breakthrough. Now here is something profound about failure that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't recognize failure. It recognizes only experience, only preparation, only development. Your failures are not your identity, they are your education preparing you for success beyond measure. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, every failure transformed into greater success. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as permanent defeat. There is only temporary instruction, only momentary redirection, only perfect preparation. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your perceived limitations. Every boundary that seems to restrict you, every limitation that appears to confine you, every ceiling that seems to cap your potential, all of these are actually springboards to greater expression. For every boundary that seems to confine you, every restriction that appears to bind you, every limitation that feels insurmountable, these are actually the launching pads for your greatest expansion. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that limitations exist only in consciousness. For in divine law, what appears as limitation is actually an invitation to transcend, to expand, to break through into new dimensions of expression. Here is the exact law. The more confined you feel, the greater your imminent expansion. That sense of being boxed in, it is actually the pressure building for explosive growth. That feeling of being restricted, it is actually the compression that precedes expansion. Now, here is something profound about limitations that most will never grasp. The universe doesn't recognize boundaries. It recognizes only opportunities for expansion. Your limitations are not your prison walls. They are your launching pads, designed to propel you beyond all previous boundaries. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing. Every limitation contains within it the seed of greater freedom. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as permanent restriction. There is only temporary compression before expansion. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine potential. Every talent that lies dormant, every gift that remains unexpressed, every ability that seems blocked, all of these are actually gathering force for magnificent expression. Here is the exact law. The greater your sense of unrealized potential, the more imminent its expression, that feeling of untapped greatness. It is actually your manifested reality demanding expression, that sense of unrealized dreams. It is actually your success pressing against the present moment. Now, here is something profound about potential that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't give you abilities you cannot express. Every talent you possess, every gift you've been given, every capability you feel, all of these are guarantees of their own expression. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this, knowing my potential is not future possibility, it is present reality seeking expression. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as unrealized potential. There is only temporarily unexpressed reality. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine timing. Every moment that seems delayed, every opportunity that appears missed, every timing that feels off, all of these are actually perfect orchestration in divine sequence. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that nothing in your experience is accidental. For in divine law, what appears as coincidence is actually consciousness made visible. The outer world reflecting your inner knowing of imminent manifestation. Here is the exact law. The increasing frequency of synchronicities in your life is direct evidence of approaching manifestation. Those meaningful numbers you keep seeing, they are actually consciousness confirming your breakthrough. Those chance encounters, they are actually divine orchestration making way for your good. Now, here is something profound about divine science that most will never grasp. The universe doesn't speak in whispers, it speaks in patterns. Every recurring sign, every repeated message, every persistent synchronicity is actually the universe confirming your imminent breakthrough. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing every synchronicity is confirmation of my manifestation. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as coincidence. There is only the visible evidence of invisible law. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine preparation. Every lesson you're learning, every challenge you're facing, every experience you're having, all of these are actually perfect preparation for your imminent breakthrough. Let me reveal to you now how this principle operates in the realm of your seeming setbacks. For every obstacle that appears in your path, every resistance that rises up, every challenge that confronts you, these are not barriers to your breakthrough, they are announcements of its imminence. When you grasp this principle, you will understand that setbacks are actually setups. For in divine law, what appears as opposition is actually opportunity in disguise, resistance actually advancement in reverse clothing. Here is the exact law. The intensity of your current challenges is directly proportional to the magnitude of your imminent breakthrough. Those overwhelming obstacles, they are actually measuring the size of your coming victory. That fierce resistance, it is actually calculating the scale of your impending triumph. Now, here is something profound about setbacks that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't send obstacles to stop you. It sends them to strengthen you. Every challenge you face is actually custom designed to prepare you for the level of success that awaits you. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, my setbacks are actually divine setups. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as opposition. There is only opportunity wearing a mask. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine precinct. Every skill you're developing, every lesson you're learning, every experience you're gaining, all of these are actually perfect training for your imminent elevation. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that relationships are not fixed, they are fluid expressions of consciousness. For in divine law, what appears as separation is actually preparation for deeper union. What feels like disconnection is actually realignment for perfect connection. Here's the exact law. The depth of your current loneliness is actually measuring the magnitude of your coming actions. That sense of isolation, it is actually creating space for divine relationships. That feeling of disconnection, it is actually clearing the way for perfect unity. Now here is something profound about divine relationships that few will ever grasp. The universe doesn't remove people from your life without purpose. It rearranges relationships to match your rising consciousness. Every relationship shift you experience is actually aligning you with your next level of expression. Throughout your consciousness, maintaining this knowing every relationship change is perfect divine orchestration. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as lost connection. There is only perfect realignment for greater expression. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine purpose. Every confusion about your path, every uncertainty about your direction, every doubt about your calling, all of these are actually clarity in disguise. When you grasp this principle, you will understand that purpose is not something you find, it is something you allow to find you. For in divine law, what appears as confusion about purpose is actually perfect purpose preparing to reveal itself with absolute clarity. Here is the exact law. The intensity of your questioning about purpose is directly proportional to the magnitude of your coming revelation. That deep uncertainty, it is actually certainty gathering force. That persistent questioning, it is actually your purpose pressing for recognition. Now, here is something profound about divine purpose that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't hide your purpose from you. It reveals it through the very questions that seem to obscure it. Your confusion is not a barrier to clarity. It is the soil from which absolute certainty will grow. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing my purpose is not lost. It is revealing itself with perfect timing. For in consciousness, There is no such thing as purposelessness. There is only purpose preparing for perfect expression. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine abundance. Every financial strain, every material lack, every resource limitation, all of these are actually abundance gathering force for expression. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that lack is impossible in the divine economy. For in divine law, what appears as scarcity is actually abundance compressed. What feels like limitation is actually unlimited supply gathering force. Here is the exact law. The intensity of your current financial pressure is directly proportional to the magnitude of your coming abundance. That overwhelming sense of lack, it is actually abundance compressed to its breaking point. That feeling of restriction, it is actually unlimited supply preparing to burst forth. Now, here is something profound about divine abundance that few will ever grasp. The universe doesn't create lack, it creates pressure for expansion. Every financial strain you experience is actually the universe compressing abundance until it must explode into manifestation. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, my current limitations are actually unlimited supply and compression. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as lack. There is only abundance preparing for expression. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine health. Every physical challenge, every bodily limitation, every health concern, all of these are actually perfect health pressing against temporary appearance. Let me reveal to you now how this principle operates in the realm of your divine health. For every physical limitation you're experiencing, every bodily challenge you're facing, every health concern that troubles you, these are actually perfect health pushing through into expression. When you grasp this principle, you will understand that illness is impossible in divine reality. For in divine law, what appears as sickness is actually health asserting itself. What feels like limitation is actually wholeness pressing through appearance. Here is the exact law. The intensity of your current physical challenges is directly proportional to the magnitude of your coming health breakthrough. That persistent condition, it is actually perfect death-gathering force. That chronic issue, it is actually wholeness preparing to express. Now here is something profound about divine health that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't create illness, it creates opportunities for greater health expression. Every physical challenge you face is actually perfect health, demanding recognition. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, my body is not broken, it is breaking through to perfect expression. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as permanent illness. There is only temporary appearance yielding to divine reality. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine wisdom. Every confusion you experience, every uncertainty you face, every doubt that clouds your mind, all of these are actually perfect understanding gathering force. Let me bring all these eternal principles to their ultimate culmination. For what I have shared with you tonight is not merely theory, it is the absolute law of imminent breakthrough, the divine science of manifestation. Here is your final revelation. You who sit here now hearing these words, receiving this message, you are not approaching your breakthrough. You are standing in its very presence. The very fact that these words are reaching your consciousness is absolute proof that your manifestation is at hand. Remember this fundamental truth. The universe, which is your own wonderful human imagination pushed out, must respond to your consciousness of breakthrough, not by human timing, but by divine law, not by mortal calculation, but by eternal principle. Here is your final instruction. Take what I have revealed to you tonight and live in the absolute assurance that everything you desire is already pressing against the thin veil of appearance, seeking expression. For this is not mere possibility, this is divine law. I tell you with complete authority, if you will maintain this consciousness of imminent breakthrough, your entire world must reshape itself to reflect this truth. Every obstacle must yield, every limitation must dissolve, every barrier must crumble before your consciousness of imminent manifestation. Go forth now in the absolute, knowing that your breakthrough is not coming, it is here. You are not approaching it, you are standing in its presence. You are not waiting for it, you are witnessing its unfolding. Remember, you are not calling forth something that does not exist. You are simply awakening to what eternally is. Everything you desire already exists in divine substance. pressing against appearance, waiting for your consciousness to align with its expression. Let this be your conviction as you leave here tonight. Your breakthrough is not a future event, it is a present reality. It is not something to achieve, it is something to accept. It is not something to create. It is something to allow. For this is the eternal promise, and it cannot fail. What appears as delay is divine timing. What feels like resistance is reality gathering force. What seems like waiting is actually manifestation unfolding. The end has been reached for you. Now possess the key to all manifestation, your consciousness of imminent breakthrough. Use it faithfully, use it consistently, and watch every obstacle transform into opportunity, every limitation into liberation, every barrier into breakthrough. Have you ever noticed that when you truly understand something, when it clicks deep within your consciousness, your entire world shifts? Tonight, I want to share with you a profound truth that will transform how you experience reality itself. Right now, as you listen to these words, the universe is orchestrating events beyond your imagination. Forces are aligning, circumstances are shifting, and a wave of incredible manifestations is heading your way. But here's the crucial part. Most people miss these blessings because they're looking in the wrong direction and are failing to imagine the magnetism. You see, the universe doesn't repay you based on what you do. It repays you based on who you are being in your consciousness. This is the secret that changes everything. When you grasp this truth, you'll understand why some people seem to effortlessly attract their desires while others struggle endlessly. Think about this. Every moment of your life, you're broadcasting a signal to the universe through your consciousness. This signal isn't your words, your actions, or even your thoughts. It's your state of being. It's the feeling you carry within you. Most people spend their entire lives trying to manipulate external circumstances, never realizing that the external is merely a reflection of their internal state. They chase success, love, wealth, always reaching, always striving, never understanding that these things aren't to be pursued but to be assumed. Let me share something profound with you. The universe isn't separate from you. It is you extended. Every person, every circumstance, every event in your life is yourself pushed out. When you truly understand this, you'll realize why the universe must repay you, because it's simply responding to what you're being. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to position yourself to receive these universal repayments. But first, you must understand that this isn't about doing more. It's about being more. It's about expanding your consciousness to embrace the reality you desire. The secret to feeling truly alive lies not in what you accumulate or achieve, but in your capacity to feel the reality of your desires. Now, most people live in a state of emotional numbness, going through the motions of life without ever experiencing its full vibrancy. Consider this. When was the last time you felt absolutely, unshakably alive? When every state in your body vibrated with the energy of pure being, that state isn't something to be found. It's something to be claimed through your consciousness. Mirror your kingdom. Mirror your power. Mirror your glory. Mirror your glory. Mirror your life. This is a quote from the style in the book. You see, at this very moment, you're experiencing only a tiny fraction of what life has to offer. You've constructed walls in your consciousness, limitations that seem real, but exist only because you've accepted them as truth. These walls weren't built by the universe. They were built by your assumptions. You saw this wall that you drew as a way of protecting and closing yourself in. Let me share a principle that will revolutionize your understanding. Every sensation you've ever experienced, every emotion you've ever felt, exists within your consciousness. You don't need external circumstances to feel alive. You need only to awaken to the aliveness that already exists within you. Find that space, that inner presence, that inner awareness, that inner understanding. Most people wait for something external to make them feel alive. They wait for the perfect relationship, the ideal job, the dream house. But I tell you this, waiting is the very thing that keeps you from experiencing the fullness of life. The universe responds not to your wanting, but to your being. When you feel truly alive, when you embody the state of vibrant, pulsing life force, the universe must, by law, reflect that state back to you in countless unexpected ways. Everyone toast around, you were here once, now you're begging for another chance to come back. Think about this. Every moment of intense aliveness you've ever experienced was created not by external circumstances, but by your consciousness. Those moments when you felt invincible, when you felt connected to everything, those weren't given to you by the world. They were created by your assumption of that state. The key to constant renewal, to feeling perpetually alive, lies in understanding that consciousness is the only reality. Whatever you feel to be true, whatever state you occupy in consciousness, must be reflected in your external world. What most people don't realize is that feeling alive isn't something that happens to you. Your consciousness is the gateway through which all experiences flow. When you change your consciousness, you change the entire spectrum of your experiences. Consider the vastness of the universe for a moment. Billions of galaxies, infinite possibilities, all existing simultaneously. Yet you experience only what you accept as possible in your consciousness. Your current experience of life is merely one tiny channel on an infinite broadcast spectrum. The universe is constantly trying to repay you with experiences that match your highest vision. But here's the crucial point. You must tune your consciousness to receive these experiences. Just as a radio can only receive the frequencies it's tuned to, your consciousness can only experience what it's aligned with. Most people live their entire lives never adjusting their frequency. They stay tuned to the same channel of limited experiences, never realizing they have access to the entire spectrum of existence. They feel stuck, stagnant, barely alive, when infinite vitality is available to them. Let me show something profound about the nature of feeling alive. When you truly feel alive, you're not just experiencing life, you're creating it. Every moment of genuine aliveness is a moment of pure creation. In those moments, you're not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are that force, individualized. But here's where most people miss the mark. They try to feel alive through external stimulation. They chase experiences, relationships, achievements, never realizing that these things can't make them feel alive. They can only reflect the aliveness that already exists within their consciousness. The universe is waiting to repay you with experiences that will take your breath away, but it can only give you what you're prepared to receive in consciousness. If you're operating from a state of emotional deadness, of limited expectations, that's exactly what will be reflected back to you. Think about the times when you felt most alive. In those moments, you weren't trying to feel alive, you simply were alive. You weren't reaching for something outside yourself. You were fully present in your own being. That's the state from which miracles flow. The secret that most people miss is that the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. If you're constantly living in a state of wanting to feel alive, you're actually affirming your current state of not feeling alive. This is why so many people remain stuck despite their best efforts. Let me share with you a profound truth about consciousness. Your consciousness is not confined to your physical body. It extends to everything you're aware of. When you feel truly alive, that aliveness permeates your entire world. Everything you touch, everyone you interact with, must reflect that state back to you. Most people don't realize that they are constantly creating their reality through their state of consciousness. Every moment, every interaction, every experience is shaped by the state you're occupying. If you're operating from a state of limited aliveness, your experiences will reflect that limitation. Consider this. The universe is not a random collection of events and circumstances. It's a perfect mirror reflecting back to you your own consciousness. When you understand this, you'll realize why some people seem to live charmed lives while others struggle continuously. The key to receiving unexpected blessings from the universe lies in expanding your consciousness to embrace more life, not just theoretically, but actually feeling more alive in your day-to-day existence. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about positive being. Most people live in a state of emotional contraction. They've learned to suppress their natural vitality, to dim their light, to exist rather than truly live. But I tell you this, that contracted state is not natural. Your natural state is one of expanding aliveness. Think about a time when you felt absolutely unstoppable. In that moment, you weren't doing anything special. You were simply being in a state of expanded consciousness. That state is always available to you. It's not something to achieve. It's something to allow. The universe is constantly trying to give you more life, more vitality, more experiences that make you feel truly alive. But it can only give you what you're willing to receive in consciousness. Listen carefully now, because this is where most people go wrong. They think they need to work harder, do more, achieve more to feel alive. But I tell you, feeling alive is your natural state. You don't need to earn it. You only need to remove the barriers you've placed in your consciousness. Think of your consciousness as an infinite ocean of possibilities. Right now, you're experiencing only a tiny drop of that ocean, not because the rest isn't available to you, but because you've limited yourself through your assumptions about what's possible. The universe is preparing to repay you in ways that will astonish you, but you must be ready to receive. This readiness isn't about external preparation. It's about expanding your consciousness to embrace more life, more possibilities, more of everything that makes you feel vibrantly alive. Most people live in a state of constant preparation, always getting ready for life, but never fully living it. They're waiting for the perfect moment, the right circumstances, the ideal conditions. But I tell you this, the perfect moment is now. The ideal condition is your current consciousness expanded to embrace more life. Consider how a flower blooms. It doesn't struggle or strain. It doesn't try to force its petals open. It simply allows its natural state of blossoming to unfold. Your consciousness works the same way. When you stop struggling and start allowing, when you cease trying to feel alive and simply allow yourself to be alive, everything changes. The universe operates through law, not luck. When you maintain a state of expanded consciousness, of genuine aliveness, that state must by law be reflected in your external world. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the operation of universal law. Most people don't realize that their current circumstances are simply their past assumptions made manifest. Whatever you're experiencing now is the result of the state you've been occupying in consciousness. Change the state and you change everything. But here's the crucial point. You can't fake this. You can't pretend to feel alive and expect the universe to respond. You must actually occupy the state of expanded consciousness, of genuine aliveness. The secret to receiving unexpected blessings lies in understanding that the universe doesn't respond to your desires, it responds to your assumptions. When you assume a state of expanded consciousness, when you live from that state consistently, the universe must conform to match your assumption. Most people make the mistake of trying to change their circumstances while maintaining the same consciousness. They want different results but continue operating from the same limited state. This is like planting apple seeds and expecting to grow oranges. Let me share something profound about the nature of consciousness. Your consciousness is creative. It's constantly creating your reality, whether you're aware of it or not. Every moment you're either creating from a state of expanded awareness or from a state of limitation. Think about the last time something amazing happened unexpectedly. In that moment, weren't you in a state of openness, of expanded possibilities? That state wasn't created by the circumstance. The circumstance was created by the state. The universe is waiting to shower you with experiences that will make your heart sing. But you must be vibrating at the frequency of those experiences. You must be living from the state that matches what you want to receive. Most people live in a state of emotional constriction, constantly bracing themselves against life. They've learned to expect limitations, to anticipate problems, to prepare for the worst. But I tell you this, that contracted state is creating more of the very things they're trying to avoid. Consider how different your life would be if you lived constantly from a state of expanded consciousness. If you moved through each day feeling fully alive, fully present, fully open to receiving, that state isn't something to achieve, it's something to allow. The universe operates with mathematical precision. Whatever state you occupy in consciousness must be reflected in your external world. This isn't theory, this is law. Most crucial understanding you must grasp is that your current state of consciousness is creating your future experiences. Every moment you spend feeling limited, constrained, or barely alive is setting the stage for more of the same. But every moment you spend in expanded consciousness is creating future moments of unexpected blessings. Think about this deeply. The universe isn't withholding anything from you. It's constantly offering you everything, but you can only receive what your consciousness is prepared to accept. If you're living in a state of emotional contraction, you're literally closing the door to countless blessings. Most people live as if life is happening to them, when in truth life is happening through them. Your consciousness is the lens through which all your experiences are filtered. Change the lens and you change everything you see and experience. Consider the difference between watching a sunset while feeling fully alive and watching the same sunset while feeling emotionally numb. The sunset hasn't changed, but your experience of it is completely different. This is how consciousness shapes reality. The universe is preparing to repay you with experiences that will transform your understanding of what's possible, but you must be ready. This readiness isn't about external preparation. It's about maintaining a state of expanded consciousness consistently. Most people can't sustain an expanded state because they're constantly reacting to external circumstances. They allow their state to be determined by what's happening around them, rather than allowing their state to determine what happens. Let me share something profound about the nature of reality. Everything you experience is a reflection of your consciousness. There is no such thing as an external event that isn't connected to your state of consciousness. Everything is yourself pushed out. When you understand this, you'll realize why some people seem to live charmed lives while others struggle constantly. It's not about luck or fate. It's about the state of consciousness they consistently occupy. The key to receiving unexpected blessings lies in maintaining an expanded state regardless of external circumstances. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means understanding that your consciousness creates reality. Think about a time when everything in your life seemed to flow effortlessly. In that state, you weren't doing anything different externally. You were being different internally. You were operating from a state of expanded consciousness. Most people spend their lives trying to arrange circumstances to feel better when they should be arranging their consciousness to create better circumstances. The sequence is crucial. First the state, then the manifestation. Your task is simple, though not always easy. You must maintain a state of expanded consciousness, regardless of what your senses show you. You must feel fully alive even when circumstances suggest otherwise. You must live from the end, feeling what you want to experience before it manifests externally. The universe operates through immutable laws. Whatever state you consistently occupy in consciousness must be reflected in your external world. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the operation of law. You leave here tonight, remember this. The universe is not separate from you. It is you extended. Every blessing you receive, every unexpected gift, every moment of synchronicity is simply your consciousness made manifest. Don't wait for external circumstances to make you feel alive. Choose to feel alive now. Don't wait for success to feel successful. Occupy that state now. Don't wait for abundance to feel abundant. Live from that state now. The universe will repair you not based on what you do, but based on who you are being in consciousness. Be the person who lives fully, who embraces life completely, who expects miracles as naturally as breathing. Your role is not to make things happen. Your role is to assume the state that allows things to happen. Live from that state consistently and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your assumption. Remember, the power that you seek is not outside you. It is your very consciousness. Use it wisely. Use it consistently. Use it with the understanding that every moment of expanded consciousness is creating future moments of unexpected blessing. Go forth now. Not to achieve, but to be. Not to get, but to embody. Not to become, but to assume. For in this lies the secret of receiving everything you've ever desired and more than you could ever imagine. The universe is waiting to repay you in ways beyond your current comprehension, but you must be ready. You must be willing. You must be living in the state of consciousness that matches what you want to receive. That is your task. That is your opportunity. That is your destiny. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. Choose now. Choose to live from the state of consciousness that matches your highest vision. For in that choice lies everything you've ever wanted and more than you've ever dreamed possible.